What's up, residents? Alistair here, and by now you've all hopefully seen Godzilla vs. Kong for all its glory. The fights were absolutely brutal, and it was incredible to finally see the god of Skull Island go against the king of the monsters. But what if I was to tell you the original version of Godzilla vs. Kong was originally meant to be much more brutal, and potentially even R-rated? Of course, there will be spoilers for the film going forward, so here's your warning in case you're one of the unlucky few that hasn't been able to see the film yet. The video begins in 3, 2, 1. Let's get to it! Welcome back. As you all likely know, Godzilla vs. Kong is the shortest film in the Monsterverse, coming in at 1 hour 53 minutes long, with the longest being Godzilla King of the Monsters at 2 hours and 12 minutes long. This means that a lot of footage would have had to been cut out of the film in order to make it the shortest and fastest paced film in the series. But some things may have been removed in order to make the film more kid-friendly. As stated in our review for Godzilla vs. Kong, you'll know that Ren Serizawa, who in the continuity of the Monsterverse is the son of Ishiro Serizawa, gets absolutely no character development to allow you to understand his motivations and why he's doing the exact opposite of what his father strived for. Well, in the novelization for Godzilla vs. Kong, adapted by Greg Keyes, we learn a lot more about his motivations and who he actually is. It states that Ishiro never had time for his son, instead spending his days focusing on researching the monsters, most notably
Godzilla.
Even though Ren practically worshipped his father, longing for the days they'd reconcile, though they never got such catharsis as Ishiro sacrificed himself to save Gojira, his obsession. So Ren focused his anger on Godzilla, who, after everything, felt like a big brother that Ishiro favorited and truly loved. After taking down Godzilla, maybe then his father's spirit would acknowledge him and maybe even love him. This information is obviously cut from the film, and the only thing that gives us even a slight hint towards his motivations is the unspoken moment where he shares a gaze with the approaching King of the Monsters, perhaps thinking about how he will avenge his father, as well as the scene where he controls Apex's Mechagodzilla, killing a Skullcrawler with absolute ecstasy, a moment where Ren finally felt like an equal to Godzilla. Ren is an incredibly interesting character on paper, so the absence of all the development from the film makes you think what else was cut. The novel also includes development for Madison Russell's character, who is actually suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, having nightmares and flashbacks to the moment at Boston where Ghidorah towered over her, like a devil torturing a lost soul. And once again, in the film, none of this was present. Adam Wingard, the director of the film, has gone on to state that there is a 5-hour assembly cut of the film, and no, this isn't like Zack Snyder's Justice League. The 5-hour cut wouldn't be a viewable or coherent film, but it does mean there's potential moments of character development cut entirely from the film. Though unless we see these in the deleted scenes of the home release, then there's a chance they weren't shot at all. But what was shot, and we have proof of this, is evidence supporting the idea that Godzilla vs. Kong was originally going to be an R-rated movie, or at least something much more brutal. You see, in the set piece where Mechagodzilla slices a genetically modified Skullcrawler in half, blood pours out onto a safety bunker where Madison, Bernie and Josh find safe haven in. But in an almost cartoonish fashion, the blood is bright green, which is interesting because in the previous films, these monsters have had normal red blood. But in this B-roll for the film, we can see what the blood looked like during their shoot, and it was originally meant to be red. We can see the gore being dropped onto the glass, and there's no fluorescent green blood to be found. It's common knowledge that due to censorship laws, moments of extreme violence can drastically alter the ratings of a film. For years, video games have been altered in different regions to either change the color of the blood from red to green or black, or even removed entirely, like PlayerUnknown's Battleground, where in China, the game sports green blood on human enemies. This is due to strict censorship laws over in China. And funnily enough, China is one of the biggest countries Warner Bros. Has been marketing towards, so they potentially required Legendary to change the color of the blood to avoid any controversy, though it's also very likely that the color of the blood was changed from red to green, as this scene was deemed too gory for a PG-13 rating. This is easily the most blood and gore in the Monsterverse to date, And since R-rated films traditionally make less money than PG-13s due to less moviegoers allowed to see it, they simply changed the color from red to green to adhere to this. I doubt Legendary was going to take any chances with the box office, especially when the pandemic is still a thing, and the success of the film was yet unknown, which is even more prevalent thanks to the underperformance of Wonder Woman 1984. But it looks like this move has paid off, as the film has been a smashing success, speeding past $300 million globally, with the first $50 million of that coming from the US after its first 5 days of release. It surpassed all expectations to become the first film to spell confidence in the cinema industry since the pandemic began. But what would this scene have looked like if they stuck with the original gory version? Well, I've spent the time to edit this clip to present to you the original R-rated version of Godzilla vs. Kong, or more specifically, Mechagodzilla vs. Skullcrawler. Enjoy. So that's a little insight into the version of Godzilla vs. Kong you didn't get to see. Would you have liked to have seen more character development from Ren Serizawa and Madison Russell, as well as the true uncensored gore effects? Or do you like the fast-paced edit that we got with the theatrical version? Let us know in the comment section down below. I personally would have loved to see more backstory from Ren and Madison, although I'm glad we at least have the novel to help fill in the gaps, and if anything, will improve the film it's based upon. So if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, because it helps this video reach even more fans. Don't forget to subscribe and stomp that notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.